Today's date is June 29th, 1997. I'm experiencing a little difficulty talking. I can't walk very well. My arms aren't lifting very well. You know, I don't know for sure if I'll be alive when you listen to this. And I don't know whether if I'm alive I'll be able to talk.
When I was diagnosed, I had the feeling of disbelief. How could a healthy 45-year-old guy like me have a terminal disease? I had a new house and a young family. I was on top of the world and very happy.
ALS is amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. The other name for it is Lou Gehrig's disease. It's a disease where the motor neurons, which are special cells in your spinal column and in your brainstem, that actually help give nerve input to muscles. And so basically it's anything voluntary in your skeletal muscle system goes through those motor neurons. For those cells, the disease is actually those cells dying off before they're supposed to, and we don't know why. And they don't grow back. And so when they die off, it provides a significant problem for you. It doesn't really involve numbness or tingling, it involves weakness, inability to do things. It can involve the mouth, swallowing, chewing, talking, breathing. It can also involve one arm, both arms, one leg, both legs. And usually by the end of the disease, it involves the whole body from head to toe.
I was 14. I was at a junior high dance, and Brian was playing in the band. He's a couple of years older than I, and we first met there. We got married after his college graduation. He graduated in June. We were married in July. He was 22, I was 20. We wanted to experience our careers and to travel and have some time together.
We were a pretty active family. We spent a lot of time together. I think some of the things that stand out more than others are, you know, the stuff that we would do that we can't do now. Family vacations and doing physical activities. He was the coach of my soccer team when I was a kid. Ran for offices in the area and had a local business, so of course he was really involved with the community.
He has an interest in everything. He relates so well to people. He had no qualms about standing up in front of a group and feeling very comfortable and making other people feel comfortable.
When my dad was diagnosed, I was 8 years old.
It was a very cold diagnosis. The doctor didn't really have much of a bedside manner, in my view. We just kind of were stunned and sat in shock and disbelief, and it was just immediate. It's like, what are the ramifications of this? And what does this mean? And I couldn't imagine what Brian was feeling. So we reunited, we left the facility, and we walked to the parking garage. It was a sunny day. We held hands, but we walked in silence because we were just digesting the information.
You know, I remember one time my dad and mom pulled me aside and said, if there's anything you ever want to ask your dad and hear a response from him, you got to ask him now because he could lose his voice. And, you know, that's tough. That's made me think about the rest of my life, you know, if I'm getting married, or it just made me think about all that stuff ahead of time. And so in a way, it kind of, yeah, it definitely brought us closer together.
And I remember repeating this in my mind, this is as good as it's going to get. And that's a really hard pill to swallow, realizing you probably won't get to see retirement together. You may not see your kids graduate.
About 2 years after I was diagnosed, I started using a wheelchair. A year later, I had the feeding tube put in. In the 5th year after diagnosis, my breathing became very labored. So much so, I decided to get a track, go on a vent and move to a nursing home.
There is no one test to show ALS, and so it was a series of tests of eliminations of other things. It started from after snow skiing, and he had some soreness and a little bit of loss of use in his arm. It was about 9 months later that he went in for some more severe testing. We thought perhaps he might have to have a back operation. We thought that would probably be the worst case scenario.
When I look at the disease, a lot of times I'm talking with a patient, but I'm thinking about a bigger patient and the family around him, because this is such a big disease that it really hits a patient and then it hits a whole family.
We went through a very difficult time during the divorce, and neither of us wanted to let go of the 30 years that we had. I decided along the way that I could either let the disease destroy me and not go on with life and be consumed by ALS, even though I didn't physically have it. It consumed my life for 9 years.
It's made me appreciate the value of life, and just to know that tomorrow could be not here, so you have to make the most of today.
I just thought it would be important that you have a recording of your dad's voice when he was pretty darn strong. See if you remember this. Somewhere over the rainbow, moonbeams fly. I can't help but wonder what you can never fly. He used to say, sing dad, and I would sing you that song. There's anything I dread being gone, it's to miss what my family does. That is probably what I dread the most about being gone, is to not see you get married, to not see your children, to not see what your mother's doing, to not see what your brother's doing. If I am not here, if you want to talk to me, look up in the sky.
There was an article I was reading where they were talking about people's attitude with ALS. And people who had a positive attitude lived substantially longer. And this was just even people that were not going on a ventilator. And I thought, well, maybe they're more optimistic because they had a milder form of the disease. But when you controlled for that, that really wasn't the answer. And I thought, well, maybe they were older or younger, which would be an advantage or a disadvantage. But that wasn't the answer. So when I looked at it, I kind of bought it, that people with positive attitudes, with a strong desire to live, and with ALS, they're going to live longer and live better.
He was given 2 to 5 years when he was diagnosed, and a lot of people end up dying in shorter time than that. He's just got a drive and a determination. Conquered 16 years of ALS, and he's not done. So it's now 16 years and counting.
Doing a real close-up.
Oh, thanks.